This live stream is being brought to you by Reed Spring High School's Advanced Video Production Media Team. Thank you for watching and enjoy the event.
Hello everybody, I'm Noah.
And I'm Colin.
And we are bringing you the COC Championship game between the Reed Spring Wolves and the Fighting Irish. We are at Swishholme Field, and this is a big game. If the Wolves lose this game, they will share the COC title with Bolivar, Springfield Catholic, and themselves. So it'll be a three-way tie for first. Reed Spring beat Bolivar, and then if Catholic beat us, that would just go down to head-to-head, and that's how it would be a tie. So essentially, Catholic, they're trying to, the best they can do is share the title, and what we're going to try to do is win the title. Usually Bolivar is the team that wins because usually they beat us, but we had an upset against Bolivar, and it was a very good game, and it was a very good win for us. It gave us a lot of momentum. The start of our schedule was the most difficult part. We played Mount Vernon, they were a pretty good team. It was also our first game of the year and their first game, so everyone's getting in the groove of things. We then played Cashville, who we lost against, and I can tell you, and anyone else on the team, the coaches, the fans, they can tell you that just wasn't our game. We weren't really ready. Well, we were ready, but we just didn't lock in that game, and we lost. And we beat Bolivar. So since then, the games have been, we've definitely stomped on some teams. The games have been not as close. And we talked about last week how we need to get in gear and get ready for the games, the big games. And this is going to be an important game, and we have to get ready for this game. So I just want to hear what you have to say about how you think we're getting ready and what you've heard about Catholic. They haven't been nearly as good as they are this year in the past, and they're pretty good this year. So what do you have? What are your opinions on this game and how we've prepared for it, and what do you think the biggest things we need to do in this game?
Well, I think I know that our players have came in this game knowing that Catholic's very good, and one of Catholic's biggest threats is their quarterback, Tyson Riley. Tyson Riley is extremely mobile. He can get out of the pocket. He's quick and he's fast, and he'll pick up some rushing yards, while at the same time he has a really good arm and he'll be able to throw the ball down the field. So it's really going to leave the Wolves defense guessing. But I think with the experience of the coaches, they're going to know exactly how to stop that dual threat from Tyson Riley, and they're going to stop him. I know that the Wolves in the past have been able to stop the run defense. They have had fantastic run defense. They've been able to stop the run, and so what they need to do is they need to continue that, and we've shown a lot of improvement throughout the games and throughout the weeks of our pass defense getting better and not allowing big passes. Last week we allowed a couple of short dump passes, but they didn't really pick up any big yardage on them. Well, compared to some other games in the past, they picked up huge gains, which are momentum shifters. So I think the Wolves are coming in here. Definitely, they have the ball rolling. They have the momentum for this game, and they're ready to go, and their defense will be shut down. And their offense has gotten – their run game is fantastic. They'll run it right up the middle, and then they'll sometimes get into the open and get the touchdown. And so I think the Wolves are ready for this, but I also think at the same time Catholic is ready for this game because they definitely – want to get first. We'll tie for first.
I completely agree. We have 45 seconds actually on the clock. As you can see, the teams are about to take the field. It looks like Reed Spring will be receiving the Reed Spring will be kicking off. Yes, this is an important game. It prepares us for districts, so I believe our first round game in districts will be against Aurora. So hopefully we can get right into that, and hopefully this is a good game. It could possibly be East Newton. We'll find out, and we'll let you know when we know if we do tonight. But we're going to see how this game goes and prepare for kickoff as number 13, the foreign exchange student, Kava, kicks off. You want to pull out the thing? And let's scoot down. The roster. Excuse me for that. I was just trying to get our hands on the roster so we can announce a good game here. Again, number 13, Kava, will be kicking off to it looks like number 15 for the Fighting Irish. Number 15 for the Fighting Irish, Nate Page. Looks like it's going to be a squib. And he's going to be brought down on what looks like the 30-yard line.
Kava's definitely shown off his kicking skills last game as he was the starting kicker for that game, and he definitely did really good. I mean, he had some really nice kicks, and he made the returners have some trouble on his kicks. So good job by Kava. And so the Wolves defense looks ready to stop the Irish right here. Let's see if the Irish have an answer for the Wolves' strong defense. It'll be a run to the outside, and it'll be taken down by number 6, Corey Robinette. Tanner Mers with a run right there.
It was a pretty good play. It looked like they might have faked up the middle or something. It just seemed like a lot of players were, up the middle, messing with the line, and then they pitched out, and it looked like a pretty good play. It was good enough for a 9-yard gain. So 2nd and short. And it looks like number 50 on the tackle there, Cole Crutcher. They got the first down there, and they're definitely showcasing that they're able to play. They're coming out fighting, and just they're not just bowing down, and they're really getting into it. And the Wolves definitely cannot be too arrogant or too comfortable going into this game. They're gonna have to lock down and play.
Catholic does have a weapon that the Wolves have, and that's speed. And it'll be a run to the outside by number 15 for a decent gain right there. That was Nate Page, number 15. It was a pretty big gain. Not a big gain, but it was a pretty nice gain right there for the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, it looked like number 8, Seth Stamps, got his hands on him. And then from there, a few other Wolves brought him down. The ball is on the Wolves' 48-yard line. 2nd and 4, so a good gain. The Irish are marching down the field pretty well. Tyson Riley's going to bobble the ball off the snap. And it looks like they'll bring him down for a loss.
It looks like you had Ben Muller and Jacob Rance.
It looks like that was Ben Muller and Jacob Rance to first get at Tyson, and then from there, the line kind of collapsed, worrying about the fumble, and that was good. It looks like they did not lose any yards on the play, showing 3rd and 4. The Wolves are gonna have to hold the Irish here on 3rd down. Cannot let them convert this. That's your biggest thing. Tyson Riley's gonna command the offense here. Looks like he's going to fake the handoff and then keep it and be brought down by a pack of Wolves. They're not going to let him convert the 3rd down. That was Tyson Riley on the keeper. Looked like that was Austin Bradfield as well as a few other linemen. Would you agree that the Tyson Riley is you said he's a mobile quarterback, but he has some speed, and he's a decent athlete, He's a pretty good guy when it comes to the athleticism factor. Wolves did a good job of stopping him there. We have 4th and 5. Gonna see if they're gonna go for it. It looks like they aren't. Excuse me. Yes, they are punting. Kelly Newton back to return. No one is going to get their hands on it, and it looks like it's gonna be down on the 19, 18-yard line. You saw number 3, JP, had to get out of the way there because the ball was coming down close to him. If that touches them, it's a pretty easy return for the Irish, and it's almost like they just gained 20 yards there. 1st and 10. Wolves not in the best field position, but we're going to see what we can do with it.
Most definitely. The Wolves' offense has been really good these last few games, and they're going to probably pick up that momentum from last game and show off their speed in the backfield right here. Blake Gronville is the quarterback for tonight's game for the Wolves. It'll be a fake handoff. Blake Gronville will take it and keep it, and he is quickly taken down by number 8, Tyson Riley right there.
Some players were talking to me about a new formation the Wolves put in where they have 3 halfbacks. Last year, the Fighting Irish would, when they didn't have a receiver on one of the fields, they would bring the other corner and bring him over to the other side of the field to put more pressure. And this formation is hopefully going to hurt that and make them bring a linebacker over to the halfback, and the halfback should be able to burn the linebacker. In theory, that's what the play is designed for. 2nd and 7 here. Going to see what the Wolves can do. It's going to be a keeper. Pitch to number 8, Seth Stamps, who's going to get upfield for a first down. You see some flags thrown. See J.P. Gardner put his hands up as if he was like, what did I do or anything. But that was a great pitch. They went for Blake. Last time they went for the halfback, and Blake was able to take it. Didn't get the biggest gain, but got a 3-yard gain. And there you see there that Seth Stamps made a good run out of that. We're going to see what the referee's official decision is. It looks like holding on the Wolves. Not exactly what we were wanting there on that big gain. We're going to still see what we can do to figure it out. The Wolves are going to be moving back, it looks like.
A good pickup right there, but it will be brought back because of holding. Let's see if the Wolves will be able to pick up the first down in 2nd and 4. Be a handoff up the middle. And it looks like it will be no gain right there. It was a handoff to number 26, Coulter Winton.
You know, it looks like the Irish aren't doing too bad on defense. The biggest gains the Wolves have had have been the outside, option plays. We run a lot of options, or the Wolves run a lot of options, and we have 3rd and 4 here. Going to see how Blake Gronville's going to handle this. He's going to pitch it to number 6, Corey Robinette, who looks like he's going to bob a little bit. And instead of tackling him, number 8, Tyson Riley, just dove in front of his legs to try to trip him up. What do you think about that style of defense rather than tackling him, just diving in front of the legs? I mean, obviously, if you have the reaction to hurdle him or something, then it may cost you, but I was just wondering your opinion.
Well, Corey on that was not looking at Tyson, so he wouldn't have really saw that he dove right there. I thought it was a good idea for a tackle, and it was a bad snap right there, and Joel will be down on seems to be on the 14-yard line, 13-yard line right there, and it's going to leave great field position for the Fighting Irish.
Definitely sucks for the Wolves. Not the best thing that could happen for them. The Irish have great field position, and with the last drive, although they ended up having to punt it, Tyson Riley did command the offense to get a few yards. And it looks like he's going to hand it off to number 27 up the middle, who's going to get a pretty good game, but be brought down by number 20, Kelly Newton, and number 3, J.P. Gardner. Again, that was number 27 for the Fighting Irish. Ramirio Avila. We have first and goal. Ball on what looks like the 2-yard line, excuse me. The Wolves are going to have to buckle down here. Tyson Riley's just going to go for the quarterback draw, and he's going to get the touchdown. The Fighting Irish are the first to score, puts them up 6-0. The mistakes that the Wolves made cost them there. The punt hurt the Wolves. Well, the fact that they did not punt hurt the Wolves actually on the bad snap. We talk about it all the time. You really can't have those little mistakes because that just almost gifted them that touchdown. You got to make them really work for it. What do you think?
I agree with that statement right there. You give them great fielding position, and all they do is they just come out and then they just make 2 plays and they get a touchdown because they start out with the ball on the 13-yard line. That's something that the Wolves cannot let happen again. So Catholic is ready for the extra point, and the kick will be good. Seemed like a little bit of a weaker kick. I mean, maybe he was just tapping the ball in there, making sure it went in, making sure he didn't miss it.
Yeah, he could have just got maybe bad footing or something and was able to, just not get a hold of the ball the way he wanted, but get a decent kick on it. Definitely interesting there. The Wolves are going to have to bounce back. The score 7-0. Fighting Irish are in the lead. The Wolves offense is going to have to figure it out. Like I told you about the formation that some players told me they integrated for this game, the halfback would motion out, pull a linebacker to cover him, and then hopefully that would create a mismatch and the Wolves would be able to burn the linebacker or at least pull him out and be able to open up the middle of the field. Not sure how it'll work and not sure if it will happen, this first quarter. Probably going to stick to their normal formations and see what they can do out of those. They're most comfortable in those. We'll see what happens. We have number 8, Seth Stamps, returning. And what looks like is that number 49? Not sure, can't really see it from here. It's going to be an odd kick that number 26, Coulter Witten's going to try to catch, but bobble. Seth Stamps is going to pick it up, and he's going to get a pretty good gain out of that. The kick really wasn't as strong as I thought it was going to be. And I believe that's the same player who kicked the field goal, but Coulter had to run up to catch it. It slipped through, and Seth was right there. Good play by Seth to be right there, Coulter wasn't expecting that, obviously, and he had to run up and try to make a play. But I think overall he did pretty good. We have number 2, Blake Gronvold, who's going to be taking control of the offense.
Tyson Riley was on that tackle right there, and he seems to be all over the Wolves. And right there, speaking of all over the Wolves, it seemed to be that the Fighting Irish were all over him. That was number 51. Number 51, Jace Wells right there, was all over number 26, Coulter Witten. It will be 2nd and 12 right here for the Wolves. Wolves looking to get something started for their offense. Looks like they haven't really been able to get the ball rolling right here. Blake Grom will run it to the outside. Decides to keep himself, and it looks like he slipped right there. The field is muddy out there, and as you can tell by all the players that they have a lot of mud on them. And you see Blake, he went in to cut back in, and his feet went out from under him, and he caused him to slip to go down. And that will be a no gain right there. As the Wolves, it will be 3rd and 12. They're going to look for something right here.
The Wolves definitely can't go 3 and out. Like you said, the Wolves are really trying to get the ball rolling. Find something that can give them the upper hand, the confidence that they need. It's going to be a pass play. And number 12, Brendan Durham, is going to try to go to catch it before it hits the ground. Blake Gronvold during that play was getting hit from his blind side, it looked like, or he was right about to. And then it looked like an O-lineman was trying to block him. I think he just got through there. O-line didn't exactly do their job. Wolves, like I said, they can't come into this game too comfortable. The Wolves sometimes are a slow-starting team, and they need to get the ball rolling a little quicker. It would make them a lot more effective. We're going to see how the long snap goes here. Hopefully a lot better. It is going to be a lot better. And it's going to be a pretty good punt. And he's going to be brought down almost immediately after he catches it. That was number 5, Lincoln Jones, for the Fighting Irish. With 4 minutes and 44 seconds left in the first quarter and the score 7-0. Hopefully the Wolves, hopefully for them, they're trying to force the turnover, maybe a pick, maybe a fumble. And I'm going to say that the Fighting Irish mindset is to just keep marching down the field. What they're doing is working against the Wolves, and the Wolves are going to have to figure out something to stop it. Looks like we're going to have a handoff up the middle. It didn't look like he gained that much. Tyson Riley kept it there, brought it down by a pack of Wolves. He was brought down by number 52, Ben Mueller, for the tackle there. You know, Ben's an amazing defensive player. He's in on a lot of tackles, and he's able to, you know, fill the hole that the offensive line opens up. He fills it pretty well. Looks like Tyson Riley's going to pitch it, and he'll be brought down by what looks like number 4, Logan Plum, and a flag. I believe J.P. Gardner, number 3, was hit a little late or blocked in the back there. Those plays really can't happen when you gain yards because they just bring it back, just like the run Seth had. You know, we had the momentum. Seth made a good run. Then it got brought back, and that hurts the offense and hurts their confidence. And what do you think the Wolves are going to have to do to get the ball rolling, get the confidence going? You think they're going to look to more passes maybe this next drive? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, they're kind of coming in this game a little bit maybe predictable for the Fighting Irish. The Fighting Irish probably looked at the scouting and they probably saw that the Wolves have been this year really heavy on the running up the middle and the pitches to the outside. And so they probably came into this with a game plan of stopping that. So I think that the Wolves should maybe kind of get a couple of short gains by passing like 3 yards, 5 yards, so they can get momentum going. They can gain some confidence and then go out there with some brute force. Tyson Riley, the quarterback. It will be a run up the middle as Tyson Riley will keep it and get a huge gain right there. He was tackled by Logan Plum right there on the play.
Saw Kelly Newton, the safety, close in on him, get a hand on him, then brought down by Logan Plum. Seems like they're really getting at the Wolves. I believe, was that a fake pass and then he went up the middle? It just seemed like there's a huge hole in the middle, and I was wondering. I didn't exactly see why. It was a good job by the Fighting Irish O-line to open up that hole. Tyson Riley's going to pitch the ball, and number 20, Kelly Newton's going to push him out of bounds. That ball is handed off to number 41, I believe, Tanner Murris. Excuse me. The defense is, it looks like the offense is just really playing the defense here. They're mixing it up because if they try to, it seems like if they try to block or defend against the pitch, Tyson Riley's able to keep it up the middle, and then vice versa. If we try to block the run up the middle, they pitch it. But right there, we guessed right, I guess. We read it. We were able to read it, brought him down for what looked like a small gain there. Brought down by a few Wolves. You can see how muddy the field is in the middle of it. You see all the mud and dirt, and you can see how dirty the players are. You know, on the sidelines, it's muddy. Just a pretty damp field. And that's just something that everyone has to deal with. You know, it's not just like a player is having to deal with it by himself. Everyone is having to do it. Both teams have that disadvantage. First down here, going to see what Tyson Riley can do. It looks like he's going to hand it off to number 15, Nate Page, and be brought down by 79, Austin Bradfield. Good tackle there. Looks like he was tackled for a no gain. You know, the defense in many cases this year in big games has been able to get the ball rolling for the offense. They've been able to force a turnover or make a good play that got the whole team, you know, hyped and ready to go.
Most definitely. So the Catholics going to hand it off to the outside right here, and it'll be brought down by Cole Crutcher right there.
Number 50 tackling, Cole Crutcher.
The Wolves are still having trouble stopping the Irish tonight.
45.
It will be 3rd and 7, ball in the 45 in the first quarter.
7 yards to go.
The Wolves stopped the Irish one time from converting, and I believe it was 3rd and 7 also, and about the same field position. Gonna try to do it again. Do you know how much the Irish pass? Have you heard anything about that?
They do like to pass a lot. I mean, they're not really showing it this way, but they pass right here.
Pass approved to number 27.
And that pass was to number 27, Ramiro Villa.
First down by Ben Mueller.
He was brought down by Ben Mueller.
Down Tyson Riley.
It was not Kelly. the defense not really having that much force on Catholic tonight. Let's see if they can stop Catholic. It'll be a handoff to the outside, and number 15 would be brought down instantly by Logan Plum, number 4.
Wolves fan section being loud. Looks like it's going to be no gain, maybe a gain of a yard. The defense is going to have to figure out something to stop the Irish if they want to get the ball back. The Irish have been pretty good about their plays and mixing it up very well. Do you think the Wolves came into this a little lackadaisical, maybe not locked in, because they've been used to winning by a lot just because of the way their schedule is laid out? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Tyson Riley will scramble out of the pocket, and he'll throw one down the field to number 82. And that will be intercepted by number 20, Kelly Newton. A crazy interception right there by Kelly Newton, getting his hand up and taking that ball with him.
That was a very good play by Kelly. Good coverage. I saw his hand go up. And I just thought it was blocked, but it looked like he brought it down into his, with both hands, or he brought it down with one hand into both and secured it very well. That was a very good play. Very surprised that happened, honestly. Although it didn't get them the best field position, it did get them the ball back. And like I said, sometimes the defense makes those plays where it gets the ball rolling for everyone, gets the confidence going, and that's what Kelly Newton just did. Great play by him. Definitely something the Wolves needed. Gonna see how the Fighting Irish return and how they take that. It looked like Tyson Riley was also almost past the line of scrimmage when he threw that. He really ran up pretty far and threw that. Overall, it was great pass coverage by the Wolves, something they've been working on for a while. 1st and 10, balls on the 5-yard line. Blake Gromvold commanding the offense here. 40 seconds are left in the first quarter. Looks like he's going to hand it off. He's going to hand the ball off to Corey Robinette. And that was nearly a safety. It looks like the ball's on the 2-yard line, 1-yard line. Something that really can't happen. You cannot let that turnover hurt the Wolves. You have 1st and 14, balls on the 1-yard line. This is definitely a difficult field position. Gonna see how the Wolves handle it. They're gonna give the ball to number 26, Coulter Witten, who's gonna get up to about the 5-yard line. Gonna get them out of that icky position, right there up on the goal line. It's not gonna be a great gain, but it is gonna get them out of a position. The Wolves call a timeout there. And we have 3rd and 10. The Wolves are gonna have to convert. Gonna have to figure this out. You gotta take advantage of that play. Excuse me, that wasn't a timeout. That was the end of the first quarter. But what do you think about converting here? You think you're going to see a pass or run? We definitely need to mix it up because the Irish have been pretty good at stopping the Wolves. Again, you got to take advantage of the turnover the Wolves got.
You don't want to pass in this situation because Catholic has been all over our quarterback, Blake Gromfold, and because it's a pass, he's going to be dropping back, and whenever you drop back, you're usually dropping back around 4 to 7 yards, so he will be in the end zone. If he gets sacked, that's a safety. But you also want to get that first down, and the Wolves, if they don't want to give up a safety, they're probably going to want to hand it off because that will be the safer thing for them to do, is to be handing it off. Just the last thing the Wolves want right here is a safety.
I completely agree with that. It's important for them to not let that turnover hurt them. If the Irish get the ball on the 5-yard line, it's going to hurt them. Looks like he's going to cut upfield. Corey Robinette, great gain there. It looked like he might have been stopped, but then he broke through, brought down by number 15, Nate Page. Great play by Corey. He got him out of the bad field position, and good enough for a first down. That was a great play by the Wolves. And obviously, you know, you thought about the situation. You told everyone that they weren't going to pass it. It's exactly what they did. They did not pass it. And I completely agree with you. If you get sacked for a safety or even sacked to put back on the 1 yard line, it's not good. Ball's on the 25-yard line. Wolves are going to hopefully advance here. They're definitely trying to get some yards. Looks like it was a run up the middle, but not much of a gain. The run up the middle does not seem to be working for the Wolves, and the Irish are reading it pretty well. Gonna see how the Irish plan to stop the Wolves here. Ball's on the 26-yard line, 2nd and 9.
The Wolves are having having a hard time right here spreading the ball. It seems that they're running the ball at the same spot every time, and Blake Grom will keep the ball himself, and he'll be tackled by Tyson Riley, the safety. And as I said before, Tyson Riley, he's been dominating, maybe not dominating, but he's been doing really well on both offense and defense. He's been a safety on defense, and he's been the quarterback on offense. He did throw an interception, but it was a crazy interception that Kelly got. So you can't really blame him. He still threw it into double coverage. It was great pass coverage for the Wolves, though. Definitely showing improvements. And it was on the long pass, something that the Wolves have really had problems with. It seems like there was a fumble on the play, and it was recovered by what seemed to be number 2, Blake Gromwald.
That was 3rd and 5 there. Definitely pretty easy, not pretty easy, but a manageable conversion. And now it's going to be 4th and 5 as Joel Gertson punts to number 5 for the Irish. It's not going to be that great of a punt. Joel Gertson on the ground with his hands up. Looked like he was roughing the kicker there, or was he hit with enough time that it was just a good hit?
I don't really believe that was roughing the kicker. I feel like he was hit just a little bit after. I feel like the defensive player had no chance of getting out of the way of stopping himself from tackling Joel. It seemed that he was only about 2 steps or 1 step away, and so it's hard to do as a defender just to stop your momentum in 1 second and not tackle him.
Yeah, and you got to remember, this is a championship game. Both teams should be, you know, at the top of their level and playing hard. And right now, it looks like that's what Catholic's doing. Tyson Riley on the keeper, brought down by number 52, Ben Mueller. Read it perfect, put his arms around him, brought him right into the ground. Pretty good tackle and wrap up by Ben. I believe he was tackled for a no gain, maybe a yard, either way. Scoreboard showing 2nd and 10. Ball's on the 30-yard line. I think that pick that number 20 Kelly Newton had is going to try to push the Fighting Irish away from the big throws. Maybe they'll do a little small ones, but excuse me, it looks like they're going to make the screen right there. He's going to be brought down by number 22 is going to be brought down by number 6, Corey Robinette. What do you think their game plan is, the Irish's game plan is right now to score again? Do you think they're going to just continue to mix it up? You think it's going to be mostly run based? What are your thoughts?
I feel like they're going to keep doing the same thing that they were doing. But it's a kind of a surprise to see them passing there. Clearly a lot of trust that the coaches have for their quarterback, Tyson Riley. He is a sophomore, and he'll hand it off to number 27 right there up the middle, and he'll be brought down by the Wolves. So it'll only be a small gain. And it seems a player's hurt on the Wolves, grabbing his leg, it seems to be. It's JP limping off the field. He will be replaced with number 27, Devin Hackathorn. Looks like he was hurt pretty badly right there. But it will be 3rd and 4 right here.
JP was able to slightly jog off the field. I think he'll be coming back, you know, maybe just something that hurts in the instance. Hopefully he'll be okay. Don't really want any injuries for either team. Wolves have dealt with plenty this season. Tyson Riley looks like he's going to keep it. And it's going to be good enough for the first down.
Tyson Riley.
The Irish are doing a great job of hiding whether they're going to go up the middle or pitch it. And overall, I think it's been pretty good the way that they've done that. The Wolves aren't able to read it. I'm really surprised about that. The Wolves have been pretty good about that the whole season. And especially with both teams watching film on each other, I'm sure the Irish watch film on the Wolves. The Irish are being able to stop the Wolves due to what they saw and how predictable the Wolves can be at times. Tyson Riley is going to keep it and be brought down by number 8, Seth Stamps. JP comes back onto the field. Looks like he does not have a limp, just a good jog. Gonna bring number 27, Devin Hackathorn, off the field. It looks like we have 2nd and 7 here with the Irish in the red zone.
Will be a run right there up the middle, but he was tackled for no gain right there as Tyson Riley handed it off, and he was instantly tackled by a pack of Wolves. That was a tackle by number 52, Ben Moeller. It will be 3rd and 6 right there for the Fighting Irish.
The Irish seem to be getting into a lot of third downs, but then they convert for the most part. Going to see what the Wolves do. It looks like they're in razor formation. Looking for the pass, and he's going to be sacked. A great sack by number 79, Austin Bradfield. Came in steaming from the blind side. That was a pretty good hit, too. You know, it wasn't anything where Tyson was able to stray away and just barely brought down. He was crushed. Great play. He was tackled for a good loss there. We have 4th down. The Fighting Irish are going to go for the field goal here, but with the kicker's strength, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to see here. Going to see how it goes. The kick is going to be good, and that puts the Irish up 10-0. The Irish were able to take advantage of getting the ball, whether they scored a touchdown or not. They were able to get something out of it, and that's what the Wolves need. If the Wolves want to be in this game, they're going to have to get anything possible, whether that's a safety, a field goal, or a touchdown. They're going to have to figure something out. You know, the defense got some momentum going for the Wolves, and the Wolves just didn't quite take advantage of it. I do believe the reason why the Wolves aren't doing the best right now is because of how predictable they're being and how the Irish are able to stop them. Your take on that? You think the Wolves are being pretty predictable?
Well, as I said previously before, the Wolves are they're not really mixing up their run. You know, they're running it right up the middle, and then they're going to pitch it, and then they run it right up the middle. They need to mix up where they're running into. It seems like they're running into the same holes every time they run it, or they're just going to pitch it. And it seems that Catholic has just picked up on that, and they figured out how to detect it. And it seems like they're picking up on it very early. Number 46 with a kick right here. Also, Coulter had a little bit of trouble, but then gets it. Coulter's breaking into space. Almost finds the hole right there, but he's brought down by what seems to be number 9, Will Kritz, with also number 82 on the tackle.
The Wolves are going to get good field position there. 1st and 10, ball on the 30-yard line. Blake Gronvold commanding the offense. I think they're going to try to – they really want to get Coulter Witten or Corey Robinette into the open. I guess anyone into the open, but those are the 2 fastest players they have, and both those kids would be great to get open. He's going to hand it off to Coulter Witten, who's going to tuck the ball to make sure he's not stripped. Going to get pumped up there for a pretty good game, brought down by number 8, Tyson Riley. You can, in my opinion, Tyson Riley is really showing out for the for the Irish. There's a flag on the play. It looks like it's going to be holding on the Wolves. It seems like that's been both of our biggest runs, besides Corey's run from down in the Wolves red zone. The run Seth had was brought back, and now this run is being brought back. But overall, you know, they still are breaking into the open, and it's a good play. Tyson Riley definitely being a man on offense and defense.
A lot of times, people tend to hold whenever they get frustrated, whenever they start getting inside their heads, and I feel like the Wolves are kind of getting inside their heads. They're getting frustrated that they're not stopping it, and it's frustrating them. But there will be a run right here by Blake. He's rumbling and stumbling, and he just breaks through the line right there with a great gain of about 10 yards. Fantastic job by Blake Gronville finding the hole, breaking in and out, rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling.
I believe we're going to have second and short here. That was a good run by Blake. He read it well. Didn't pitch the ball because that's obviously his other option. Was able to get up the hole, and he brings us 2nd and 2 as a good play by Blake Gronville, a good read. The Wolves have been stopping that, but when they don't, the Irish have been stopping that, but when they don't, the Wolves make good use of it. Coulter Witten is going to break a tackle, tuck the ball up, and get some yards. Looked like looked like number 5, Lincoln Jones, and a few other Irish were on the tackle there. It was a good play by the Wolves. 1st and 10, ball is on the Wolves 48-yard line, it looks like. It's a good job by the Wolves to be able to do that. It seems like Coulter is being a pretty good weapon here. And it looks like Seth's going to get the ball.
That's not Seth. That was Corey, I believe. No, that was Blake.
Excuse me, Blake Gronville with the keeper, and maybe a gain of, it looks like he might have lost a yard, or he might be even, no gain. What are you expecting from the Wolves here on 2nd down?
I'm expecting them to keep going to the outside, trying to get the speed going, because that's their strength on offense is speed. And so they're going to try to take advantage of this. Blake Gronville's going to keep the ball himself. He's going to try to go up the middle, but he looked like a little slipped. His feet went out from under him for a little bit, and Catholic was all over him right there.
Looked like it might have been a gain of a yard or 2. What do you think about all those plays, Blake? Blake running on all those plays, you think they just thought that was a threat and kept doing it, or do you just think those, it looks like it's going to be a pass play, incomplete pass.
No,
That's actually a fumble, I believe, because it was behind him. That was 3rd and 8. And that lateral was intended for number 1, Joel Gertzen. Did you see who recovered the fumble there? Wolf fans cheering. It looks like we have 3rd and 8. Did you see any flags on the play? The offense is staying out there. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Did you see?
We've got somebody blowing a whistle on the Catholic side. Quit it, stop it, don't do it.
It is going to be 3rd and 8 on the play. Blake Gronville, the quarterback. Let's see what the Wolves are going to have up their sleeve. He's going to hand it off to number 26, Coulter. Coulter running into a couple of his linemen on the play, and it seems like he's not going to be able to get any kind of gain right there.
He maybe gained a yard or 2. I believe the Wolves are going for it on 4th down. Do you if they do go for it, do you agree with it? What are your opinions on it? It looks like it's 4th and short, 4th and 2. He actually gained 4 yards. Are you expecting a handoff up the middle or to go out to the outside?
Catholic's loaded up the defensive line, so Coulter's going to pick up the down, and that will be a 1st down for the Wolves. Great job by Coulter, bumbling, stumbling up the middle right there, and fantastic job by the Wolves running it up the middle. even though Catholic loaded up the defensive line, pulling their linebackers into the defensive line, making more pressure on the Wolves still convert.
Coulter's an extremely fast kid, but also strong, and he's able to hit holes hard. It looks like Blake's going to be on the keeper, and he's going to be brought down by number 8, Tyson Riley. You can see him stick a hand in there for the ball to try to strip it. It looks like the Irish, I've noticed it more than any other game, are really trying to strip the ball when they tackle. You see Coulter a lot of times, as soon as he gets a hand put on him, or if he thinks he's going to get hit, wraps up the ball pretty well. He does a good job with that. Looks like we have 2nd and 5. Number 8, Seth Stamps, is going to get some yards. He's going to fight. You saw an Irish try to strip the ball. He tried to strip the ball. He lost control of the tackle. He could have tackled him and brought him down, but he tried to strip, lost control, and because of that, Seth was able to gain some extra yards. It looks like it was just short of the first down, and we're going to have 3rd and inches.
That was Hunter Brown right there. He tried going for the strip. And Hunter Brown, a couple weeks ago, had a fantastic interception that really helped Catholic get the win. But we see right there will be flags on the play.
Another flag on Reed Spring. I'm not sure that there have been any flags on the Irish, but the Wolves doing a good job of returning from these for the most part. Excuse me, it looks like they're just 3rd and 6. Maybe it looks like they're just redoing the down. And we're going to try to go right up the middle. Excuse me, a fumble is what it looks like. And there's going to be a timeout called by the Wolves. Brought back 5 yards there. It was 3rd and inches. And now it's going to be 3rd and 6. And then with that fumble, 4th down. It looks like to me the Wolves are, making some plays and getting some yards, but they just can't continue to make play after play after play. They make a play and then they get stopped. And they just, they just can't get it to build up. Do you think the Wolves are going for it here, or they're going to kick, and which would you do in the coaching situation?
I would try mixing it up, but I'm also not the NFL coach. But I have noticed that the safety, Tyson Riley, we are going to go for it. The safety, Tyson Riley, what he's doing, we only have 55 seconds, so it makes sense to go for it right here. But Tyson Riley has been moving several times before the ball is even snapped, and he guesses it perfectly. So maybe Catholic has some kind of gain right here, and they know by the formation on where the ball's going to be ran or what's going to happen next. Because Tyson Riley, whenever he's all over the Wolves, you see him move before the ball's even snapped, which is really good for Catholic. It's going to be a pass to wide open, J.P. Gardner, touchdown! Right there, J.P. Gardner burns the cornerback, gets into the open for a touchdown.
That was a great play there. As you could see on that play, J.P. was completely wide open there. Once you saw that ball in the air to him, that was a no-doubter. The Wolves originally thinking about going for it, and now number 13, Kava, the foreign exchange student, is going to attempt the point after.
Next point is good, but you do have to remember that was 4th and 6 right there. So we went from going from 4th and 6 to a touchdown, and JP, you see him off the line. He shows off his acceleration. He takes some hard steps, gets past number 4, and it was a good play action because the cornerback for Catholic, Hunter Brown, was expecting a run, so he ran in, and then JP just gets right by him and gets a touchdown. Great job by Blake reading that, reading the cornerback, reading the safety, saw that they were both coming in, and he meets his man, JP Gardner, for a pretty nice pass, a perfect pass right there, led him perfectly. JP never had to stop his momentum, and JP just jogged in the end zone for a touchdown.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the past games since Blake Grunwald's first start, he's had a passing touchdown each game. I may be missing a game, but I do believe, I know for a fact he's been doing pretty good with the passes, But what I want to say is I'm not exactly sure if that was the new formation I was talking about, but it very well could have been, because it could have shifted the defense and caused JP to be open. JP's a pretty fast kid, and if you notice, he's pretty lanky, so he's able to take good strides. He's not extremely fast, but he does have some speed on him. Kava's going to go for the squib kick. He's going to bobble the return a little bit. Tyson Riley is almost going to hit the hole, but he'll be brought down by Wolves number 56. He'll be brought down by number 56, Connor Weiss. 42 seconds are left in the half, and that was a great play by the Wolves. Great decision to go for it on 4th down, and it's awesome that they converted the 4th down. Definitely a momentum builder for them that they converted the 4th down into a touchdown. They will be getting the ball back after halftime too. So they're in a good situation, and the Irish are in the opposite situation. They really are looking to get at least a field goal out of the half. Tyson Riley is going to hand off to number 27, who's going to be brought down by number 79, Austin Bradfield, as well as Jacob Rance helping him out there. That was a handoff to number 27, Ramiro Avila. Time running out of the half. 20 seconds left. Would you call a timeout as the Irish coach and try to make a play? Would you have, or would you just let time expire?
Just let time expire probably, because you don't really want to take a chance, because what if you fumble and then the Wolves pick up a fumble that's going to really do you bad, but you're just going to see Tyson just let the clock just go down as he just stands. And this will be the end of the second quarter. The first half is finally over.
The Wolves have done a good job of returning and coming back from that, and the Irish have done a good job of marching down the field and scoring first, getting their momentum building, as the Wolves couldn't exactly get any momentum, but I think the Wolves did find some there. We had a great pickoff by Kelly Newton, as well as 2 4th down conversions. Overall, great plays by both teams. Both teams have done good. Definitely one of the biggest names tonight, one of the most standout players would be number 8, Tyson Riley for the Fighting Irish. He's done a great job, and he's been able to handle the ball at QB very well as be a good safety. And the Fighting Irish have been able to stop the predictable plays by the Wolves, but the Wolves have been able to mix it up there at the end. The good pass plays are always going to help the Wolves. Again, Tyson Riley threw a pick to number 20, Kelly Newton. And it was just a good play by the Wolves, good coverage. And on that play, Tyson Riley sensed some pressure and was able to scramble out of the pocket and tried to make a throw while running forward. It was a very deep pass, and the Wolves have had trouble with those deep passes, but they're finally able to stop that and make some good plays there to get the ball back. The score after the first half, the Fighting Irish 10, the Reed Spring Wolves 7. Good half overall. The Wolves not scoring until there was only a few minutes left in the first half. Overall, again, good half, very competitive. The Irish were able to score first and were able to get the ball rolling for them, and the Wolves finally found it.
At this time, we'd like to recognize our players and our head coach and their family member names who should stand if they are present. Steve Rosales, tackle, breast cancer in honor of Steve Hancock, Marty Hancock. Ty Alms, Nanny, and Marty Hancock. Jace Wells, and we're going to wind down this clock to about Edwards, 12 minutes or so, and then we'll go to the Maxine Ford, Cousin Holly Orton, Grant Shane, Grandma Judy Phillips.
I'll tell you when the last one needs to be.
Pop's Dairy Dell has been family owned and operated since 1958 in downtown Reed Spring. For over 50 years, Pop's has been serving locals and visitors classic diner food. Burgers, fries, and onion rings are all made fresh to order. Soft serve ice cream is on hand for your favorite sundae, or try a flavor burst cone with any combination of our 8 great flavors. If you like quality food made fresh to order, Pop's Dairy Dell is the perfect choice.
Hey, great party.
Oh, thanks. Here you go. 1 hamburger, medium well.
This is well done.
No. That's medium well.
What? Are you calling me a liar? This thing is practically burnt.
That's it. You're not gonna come to my house and tell me how to cook a hamburger.
It's like a hockey puck.
You wouldn't do it there.
Gotta be crazy.
So don't do it here. Sportsmanship. It's up to you.
Hey, where are you going? Can't get by me. I'm #1 in this class. I rule this lab. I'm #1. Hey, I don't think so. Yes! Winner! I am the king! Woo!
You wouldn't do it there. So don't do it here. Sportsmanship. It's up to you.
What?
Jerk.
Hello, everybody. I'm Noah,
And I'm Colin.
and halftime is winding down, so we're going to give you a quick recap of the first half. Definitely have to say the biggest player, the biggest impact player for the Fighting Irish is number 8, Tyson Riley. He is starting quarterback for the Irish and also starting safety for the Irish. You've mentioned that he's a pretty strong mobile quarterback. He's an athletic guy, really. He's able to, if something goes wrong, a mess up in the play, or something doesn't go exactly how it's planned, he's able to adjust to it and able to work around it. But you've said that at safety position, he's been kind of guessing the plays right, moving in the direction. Tell the viewers more about that. Tell them why you've seen that, or like why you think that and how you've seen that. Just kind of tell them about the defense. What are your thoughts on it exactly?
Well, the Irish's defense has been really good. They've been able to guess what the Wolves are going to do, and they're able to stop a lot of the Wolves' runs and passes. And it hasn't been until later in the first half where the Wolves started getting stuff going. But if you watch Tyson Riley, you'll see him kind of approach a certain side of the field and maybe get towards the line of scrimmage, and he'll guess it a lot of the times. And whenever you see him all over it, you'll see him most of the time he'll be guessing, and before the ball is snapped, he'll be moving to a certain spot, which is really good. But I also saw him do that on the pass play from Blake on that 4th and 6 touchdown at JP. You see him kind of start creep his way in towards the line of scrimmage, and then next thing you know, JP burns both Hunter Brown, and since there's no safety there to back up it, JP was just wide open. And so, I mean, that was the only bad thing that I've seen so far from the Irish. But still, the Wolves are either getting stopped or they're getting a big gain. And that's kind of a problem because they get a huge gain and then they just get stopped in 3 plays. They need to be more consistent at finding their holes, creating holes. The offensive linemen, to me, seem like they've been having a little bit more trouble in this in that first half than they have all season. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the biggest thing going for the Irish, for their offensive side, is that Tyson Riley is able to fake a pass, fake a handoff to outside, fake a pitch, and able to go up the middle just as well as a halfback would be able to.
Good football IQ.
Yeah, he has a good football IQ, and he's able to tuck and go, but he's also able to, scramble to the outside. On the pickoff, the number 20, Kelly Newton, has deep pass, one of the deepest passes the Wolves have seen of the season against any team. He scrambled out because he sensed pressure and then was running forward and threw the ball kind of on the run, which helped him get his momentum forward to make a longer pass. But he was definitely pressured into that throw, and Kelly Newton had great pass coverage. Definitely a good play of the game. Overall, the Wolves struggled to get momentum on offense. They had that pickoff that Kelly Newton had, weren't able to take advantage of it the way they wanted to, whereas the Irish have been able to mix it up and be unpredictable. And the Wolves' O-line and D-line have both had issues, and I think you'd agree, but I think they're able to work out those kinks and figure it out. And I think overall they've been doing pretty good with that towards the end of the half. The Wolves will be receiving the ball at the start of the second half. They scored right at the end of the first half, and we discussed whether they should have went for it on 4th down, and there was about 55 seconds left, and it was a good choice. And this game is very important. They have to be locked in because if you didn't know, this is the COC championship game. If the Wolves win, they win the COC title. And if the Wolves lose, Bolivar, Springfield Catholic, and the Reed Spring Wolves will share the title for the small COC championship. We have 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the half. What more do you have? What important things do you have to say about how the half went? Both teams, just what are your overall thoughts? And also, what are your predictions for the second half?
My predictions are that Catholic will come in with the same game plan. They're going to keep up their defense and they're going to keep up their offense. But I feel like it's going to be a whole entire different story for the Wolves. I feel like they're going to come in, change the offensive game plan just a bit, or maybe go with that later first half kind of offense right there that was making the Catholic kind of start to second guess and start to have to guess what they're going to do. They weren't able to predict the plays as well. And I feel like the coaches addressed that in the locker room during halftime, is that, hey, we're having a problem of them guessing, so we got to mix things up. We got to do this. We also have to block a little bit better, make some bigger holes, because several times you saw Coulter would just run into an offensive lineman, and it'll cause them to get no gain or maybe just 1 yard, which is bad. You don't want to be running into the backs of your linemen. That's not something you want. And so I feel like everything needs a little bit more onto it. You know, every part of the game is struggling right now, except for the pass coverage. The pass coverage was great, but there were so few passes that you can't really say that it was great. But everything needs a little bit more work right here. It seems like the defense was starting to pick up their game. They're picking up the plays better, and you saw a late time sack, which really gave them some momentum right there, and then the interception. So good job by the Wolves defense. They're slowly picking up the momentum, and if they get the ball fully running at full speed, I mean, Catholic's going to have a hard time, but if Catholic can stop them from getting the ball rolling, then it's going to be really good.
I think one of the biggest issues the Wolves might have here is that the momentum that they got was at the end of the first half, and then they just went and sat in the locker room, as well as the Irish. But the Irish were able to get their momentum quickly in the game. They scored first, then they forced the Wolves to punt, and were able to not necessarily get a touchdown, but to make us get 3 points. And in football, everything matters, because if no one else scored, that field goal would win the game. You know, every little thing matters, and the Wolves are going to have to buckle down and really play with some intensity, as are the Irish. It's a good game, and the Wolves have not necessarily been in a close game like this in a while, because just the way their schedule is set up, the heart of their schedule was at the beginning of the schedule, and they played those teams, Mount Vernon, Cassville, Bolivar, and those were their toughest games, which isn't exactly the best schedule they could have. As you can see, the Fighting Irish are going to be kicking the ball off here to the receiving Reed Spring Wolves. Number 8, Seth Stamps, will be receiving it. Both times the Fighting Irish have kicked off, they've kicked to number 26, Coulter Witten, who one time bobbled it, dropped through his hands, and Seth picked it up. But both gains off of the kickoffs have been decent gains. Here's the kickoff again to number 26, Coulter Witten, who's a big threat. He's a very fast, athletic kid, and he finds holes very well. Both times he's returned the ball, he's almost broke out into the middle of the field, and I think that's great by him. It looks like the ball's on the 25, 30-ish yard line. Gonna see what the scoreboard shows. It looks like the ball's on the 29-yard line. The Wolves are gonna be looking to mix it up. Blake Gromfeld has done a great job at reading the option, and he's gonna hand it up the middle to number 26, Coulter Witten, who's gonna follow his lead blocker, number 6, Corey, who did a great job at lead blocking there. Pushed I think a linebacker who came in, pushed him out, and it was able to get the first down because Coulter was able to keep pushing up the field. 1st and 10, ball on the Irish's 40-yard line. It's going to be a handoff to Coulter Witten, and it looked like Coulter and Blake kind of hit when he went to handoff. Looked like wasn't exactly the most fluid thing, but I want to ask you a question here. The Irish, I've only seen them with one safety back. Do you think that it looks like that was a no game, by the way, but do you think the Irish do you think that could pose a problem for the Irish if we, pointed that out and were able to pass?
They have had a couple of times where they moved the linebacker back, but you're right. They haven't had multiple safeties. And the Wolves right there, Blake Gromfeld was just tackled for a loss, or Coulter Witten, was tackled for a loss right there. But going back to what you're saying, I don't really think it's going to pose a problem for the Wolves, for the Catholic, because you see when you have that one safety, yeah, it can cause a problem in the deep pass. But if you look at the at the cornerbacks, they're not pressing up against the wide receivers, which helps the wide receivers not be able to burn the cornerbacks. They're able to read the routes right. And so you're going to see Blake sacked instantly by number 63. That's a big problem right there for the Wolves. You have to be able to stop their defensive line and their defensive ends. And that was a sack by Grant Schoen.
That was a pretty big hit. You saw the good sportsmanship helped him up, but that was a very big hit. Reed Spring looking to punt the ball back to number 5 of the Irish. Number 5, Lincoln Jones. Another bad snap. That is the Wolves' second bad snap to Joel. Joel's able to jump up, catch it. Joel's a pretty athletic kid, and that could have been very bad. If he would have not caught that, the Wolves would have had to run back, and maybe he would have been able to get the punt off. The snappers, it's hurting the Wolves. I mean, it may not seem like much, but that costed a few yards off of the punt. You know, another factor I'd like to point out if you're just joining us is that the field's very slippery. We've seen Blake slip on it a few times. It's something both teams are having to deal with. Ball looks to be on the 41-yard line.
A run right here by number 41. That was Tanner Mers. Austin Bradfield is right there to take him down for a small to no gain on the run.
Austin is having a very good game. You see him with plenty of tackles. He's doing very well. It's a gain of 1 yard. And if the Wolves can stop him here, I think that's going to give him a lot of momentum. See the handoff to number 27, Ramiro Avila. It looked like he was brought down by number 50, Cole Crutcher. Excuse me, number 52, Ben Mueller. I mean, I think that was most of the tackles the Wolves are having today seem to be a combined tackle, you know. Maybe one will get the hands on him, but the Irish have been pretty good about breaking through tackles, pushing for extra yards, as well as Coulter Witten, who's a guy who usually does it for the Wolves. Gonna have 3rd and 8 here. Gonna see how the Irish plan to convert. They're gonna pitch it, and he's gonna be tackled with a flag on the play. Well, I'm not sure if that was good enough for a first down, and we're gonna see who the flag was on. But it looked like Tyson pitched it at the right time there. What do you have to say?
The running back, he thinks he's going breaking the open, but next thing you know, Seth Stamps just hit sticks him and takes him down hard right there. Great job by Seth, coming in hard. It seems that the referees are talking to the Wolves defensive line about something, maybe a miscommunication or something. We will see what the problem is. The ball is going back on the Fighting Irish. It will be 3rd down and long.
So it's going to be 3rd down at the 47.
I believe they could have chose between 4th and short, which I think might have cost them because the Irish should be able to push up. Looks like it's going to be a pass play. As number 79, Austin Bradfield's going to get his hands on Tyson. Tyson's going to kind of break loose, gain a few yards maybe past that, and then Jacob Rance is going to stop him. That was 3rd and 16, maybe a gain of 3, 4, but maybe a gain of 0 because he dropped back and tried to scramble. Looks like we're going to have a scoreboard showing 4th and 16.
One thing that the defensive linemen, or the defensive tackles, my bad, are very good at is what they do is they eat up the blocks and they stop the runs from happening. And you see Austin Bradfield, who's a defensive tackle, he puts his hand out there and he's going to slow him down. And then you have Jacob Rance just come out of nowhere and just hit Tyson Riley pretty hard, which is exactly what you want from a team. Number 51 will punt it, and that one looks like it'll go directly out of bounds. It wasn't a very accurate punt right there, but let's see what the Wolves can do with this kind of field position.
I'm not sure if that was what they were looking to do, was just to punt it out of bounds, make sure that we could not return it, the Wolves could not return it. But overall, I don't really think it was the best punt, the best thing they could have done. I'm obviously not, you know, an NFL analyst, but that's what I think. The ball's going to be marked on the 24-yard line, so I guess it was pretty good. Maybe if that was kicked to Kelly, he would be able to get past that. So, gonna see what the Wolves do here.
We got a call of illegal stiff against Catholic.
It's going to be called an illegal shift against Catholic.
They're going to move it back 5 yards.
It was 4th and 15. Now it'll be 4th and 20. Just all that's going to do is help the Wolves. You know, it's not going to change whether they're going to go for it or anything. I mean, I suppose it could, but just not very likely. 4th and 20. You see Kelly Newton set to return it, and number 51 for the Fighting Irish will be kicking off, or excuse me, punting the ball here. That's Jace Wells. Another punt that just, I really question. Punts it high up in the air and towards the sideline. It hits and rolls out of bounds. Just didn't seem like, you know, my ideal punt. I feel like it would be a little smarter maybe to kick to Kelly or something. He does kick it very high. It just does. And it did go straight out of bounds. It looks like that was a difference of 4 yards on the other one. The other one was on the 24-yard line. That one actually got back to the 20-yard line. So that did end up working out for the Irish. Number 2, Blake Gronville will be commanding the offense on this drive. Looks like he's going to hand it up the middle to Coulter Witten, who is going to be hard to bring down. You see when we run up the middle, blockers are just pushing Coulter forward as the defensive players are trying to push him back. Although it looks like he's not going to get a yard either way, maybe even no gain. The score is 10 Fighting Irish to 7 Wolves. It looks like, did he get the pass off there or was he sacked? I'm not sure if he got rid of the ball. He was sacked almost immediately. The O-line, I mean, would you agree most of the blame there goes on the O-line? They've really got to defend that. I understand that sometimes the defense can make a play, but it's just something that the O-line really has to try to do. That's going to put it 3rd and long. Are you expecting a pass?
I believe that a pass will happen right here for the Wolves. Blake will drop back to pass. His pass will be to number 6. Which good pass coverage right there. Coulter had it in his hands, but he believed that the cornerback was going to tip it, so he kind of lost track of the ball right there and it got in his hands, and he just had some trouble with it, and then Tyson Riley was right behind him and pulled him down, so he didn't come down with the football, so now it will be 4th and long.
Overall, I mean, it wasn't that bad of a pass. It was good coverage. The cornerback was able to stay with him, and Tyson Riley immediately shifted over to defend the pass. Questionable punt by Joel Gertson. Goes immediately out of bounds. Well, would you have done anything different? Would you have punted it that way? I'm just curious on your thoughts there.
Joel, on all of his punts, have kicked it to that side of the field, which you wonder maybe why he's doing that. You just truthfully don't know maybe what's in his mindset. I don't know what's his mindset.
It could possibly be forcing the Wolves to go a different way, you know, with less field, less amount of the field on that side. Not exactly sure, you know, a lot of things can come into play there. Ball's on the 27-yard line. The Wolves really need to stop them. Hopefully for the Wolves, force a turnover. Ball's going to be handed off to number 27, I think. That was tackled by number 79, Austin Bradfield, who's having a lot more tackles than usual tonight. He's doing very good. You know, when you get to these championship games, you want to be peaking. You want this to be your best time, as a team. And it looks like Austin Bradfield is peaking at this point, you know. He's doing good. It's 2nd and 5, and the Wolves really need to force a turnover rather than get the ball on 4th down, because a forced turnover will allow the Wolves to get the ball back. For the Wolves to force a field goal will give the Irish a chance to score more. Looks like he's brought down by number 62, Colin Cross, and number 52, Ben Moeller.
62. Colin Cross.
Not good enough for a first down, but it looks like it will be 3rd and short. I'm going to say
3rd down.
that the Wolves are, the Irish are probably going to try to punch it right up the middle, try to fight for those 2 yards. Tyson Riley, yes, is going to keep it and be brought down by number 52, Ben Moeller, as well as a pack of Wolves that include J.P. Gardner and Logan Plum. Gonna see if it's good enough for the first down.
Short gain is going to be.
I believe it's going to be 4th and inches. Again, I think they're going to try to punch it right up the gut, and the D-line really has to come through clutch here. Do you blitz the linebackers in to try to stop the run up the middle?
Well, I mean, I really think that the Irish are going to run it up the middle. And no, Tyson Riley will break it out to the outside, and he'll cut in. And that will be a first down for the Fighting Irish. Once again, Tyson Riley showing his skills against our defense.
I think the most obvious decision for the Irish would be to go up the middle to try to force it. They just tried that and it didn't work. The D-line obviously preparing for that. So I do think it was probably a good decision to run to the outside. Although it does give the Wolves another chance to force the turnover. But that is kind of questionable, because if you don't turn that over, you walk away with 0 points. And if you go for the field goal, it's 13-7, assuming you make it. Looks like the ball is going to be handed off to number 27 and brought down by a pack of Wolves. Looks like it's going to be a gain of 4 yards. Ball's on the 13-yard line. Will be 2nd and 6. Jacob Rance on the tackle there. Wolves really need to force a turnover. I'm going to probably... I don't think we're going to see a pass here at all, because it's just not worth it. Tyson Riley really hasn't been able to pass against the Wolves too well. So I'm definitely expecting the run. He is going to keep it and be brought down by number 4, Logan Plum. And that's going to be a Wolves touchdown. Tyson Riley running off the field. That's going to put the game 16-7. Tyson Riley, a star player for Catholic that the Wolves are going to have to stop. We're going to have to shut him down on defense too. He's able to stop the Wolves a lot, not let the Wolves gain anything. And the Wolves really need to get around him. 16-7 as the Irish attempt the point after. Whistles are going to be blown. Going to see what the officials have to say.
Dead ball. Encroachment against Reed Spring.
Encroachment against Reed Spring. That's going to move the Irish up a few yards, I believe. Am I correct? Do you think they're going to change and go for it here? Or do you think it's just safer? It looks like they're changing the players, so they may be going for it. Tyson Riley's coming back onto the field. So it does look like they're going to go for it here.
Move it towards the goal line on the penalty after distance.
I believe that you'll see a little bit of a QB sneak right here, where Tyson Riley will just take it and just run it right up the middle. And no, he's going to run it to the outside, and it'll be tackled. And they will not get the 2-point conversion right there. Great job by the Wolves. It was tackled by Logan Plum all over Tyson Riley. I believe, in my opinion, I think that Tyson Riley, that Springfield Catholic should have just ran it right up the middle. I mean, they're so close to the goal line. All Tyson Riley has to do is find a small hole and just dive right up into it and get the and get the 2-point conversion.
Yeah. I mean, overall, that could come back to hurt the Irish, like we said. Every point matters. But let's say the Wolves score again, puts it 14-7, assuming they score a point after, 14-16. Now if they score a field goal, they take the lead. Whereas if the Irish would have went for the field goal there, or for the point after, that would only tie the lead. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just not, I don't know. You know, we said every point matters. So it's understandable that they went for 2 because they're up by, you know, a decent amount, I suppose. But it's just kind of questionable. The Wolves really need to get some momentum going here. I'm expecting the kickoff to be to number 26, Coulter Witten. I'm really looking for him to break into the open because he has gotten pretty close the past 2 times. Gonna see what happens here. It is gonna be to number 26, Coulter Witten, who's gonna kind of have an odd reception. And he's gonna be brought down. I almost thought it was a fumble due to the way the fans were cheering. With 2 minutes and 41 seconds left in the third quarter, time is running out of the game, and the Wolves are really going to have to look to score here. This is a big game. It's a championship game for the small COC. If the Wolves lose, the title will be shared between the Bolivar Liberators, the Springfield Catholic Fighting Irish, and the Reed Spring Wolves. Blake Gromvold going to try to get the defense to go over. Gonna fake it. Gonna hand it off to number 6, Corey Robinette, who fights some tackles and flags are thrown. That was a pretty good fight by Corey Robinette. You saw him get hit. You thought he was going to go down. Fought for some more yards. Holding on the offense. A lot of the big gains the Wolves have had have been brought back. I'm not really sure that Catholic has had any penalties this game. I can't think of any, especially on gains that they've had. The Wolves have definitely been the ones committing those. 1st and 10, ball on the 30-yard line. Gonna hand it off up the middle for what looks like maybe not a gain. It could go a yard either way, probably. Pretty neutral run. 2nd and 10. You think I feel like the Wolves are either going to go outside or maybe a small pass here. Lots of Blake's passes are pretty deep passes, but we may see a short pass. We have 2nd and 20 here. The last down was 1st and 20. Tackle for no gain. 2nd and 20. I could definitely see a pass here. He is going to drop back for a pass and pass to number 9, Ransom Alphen, and it's going to be deflected by number 4, Hunter Brown, who was not exactly right on Ransom, but as soon as the pass was thrown, broke in to deflect the pass. Good play by Hunter Brown. That's going to put the Wolves 3rd and 19. I believe number 4, Hunter Brown, probably should have picked that ball. Although Colin here is saying that it hit Ransom in the chest, so it might have not been broken up at all. I'm expecting the pass play here with 3rd and 19. And it's going to look like Blake's going to have to run, and he's just going to keep the ball to try to fight for some yards. He is horse-collared all the way into the Wolves. Holy cow. He is horse-collared all the way into the Wolves. Many words are being said here. That is a very bad play by the Irish. The Wolves would have been punting. Blake Gromvold scrambles out of the pocket, keeps it, is then horse-collared and thrown into the Wolves sideline. I mean, he was airborne, all 4 off. You know, that I thought he might pass it on the run, but that's going to work out for him. He ran to the left side. He's a lefty quarterback, easier to throw it. The Wolves discussing this, and you could hear some Wolf fans and maybe some coaches exchanging words. A very bad penalty by the Irish. That's going to cost them quite a bit. You really can't have that.
Blake Gromvold right there, he was just picked up from his jersey and thrown down like a rag doll. You could see the defensive lineman showing off the strength. He just picked him up and threw Blake Grunwald right down into the ground. You have to feel bad for Blake. That was a terrible penalty right there. Definitely not something you want. The Wolves will be punting it. Joel will punt it over to the left side of the field once again. It was a really good punt. Perfectly, I think that was a perfect punt for that situation.
That put the Wolves in that situation, 4th and 3rd. Which for the Wolves, it sucks because of how bad that penalty was. Blake was literally thrown into the air on the horse collar, and it is kind of sad that happened and the Wolves weren't able to get anything out of it really. They still punted on 4th and 3rd, but the Wolves are going to hopefully return from that. Maybe have some momentum. The fact that that play happened, going to get the defense heated, really want to make something happen. It looks like Tyson Riley's going to have a little mess up on the option, and he's going to be brought down by number 62, Colin Cross, 55, Jacob Branson, number 79, Austin Bradfield, all getting in on the tackle. All defensive tackles, too. What do you think about, do you think the Wolves should have went for it on 4th and 3rd? Your facial expression tells me punting's probably the right choice there. Just wanted to hear you. And what do you think about it? It just kind of is a disappointing thing for the Wolves that penalty was so flagrant and bad, and they didn't exactly get anything out of it.
Well, I really think that you should punt it in that situation. A great job by the Wolves being all over him. You see you had Ben Moeller, Logan Plum all over him, and Austin right there. But going back to that, if you fail to convert, you give the Fighting Irish some great ground, some great field position. And what happens is that all they need to do is pick up about 15 yards, and guess what? That's a field goal, which would put them up 19-7, which is not what you want. You'd rather take the chances of your defense stopping them, which it looks like the Wolves are going to be able to do, as Tyson Riley will pick it up, and it'll be a fumble! It's counted as a pass because it was forward. I mean, that looked to me like it was a lateral, but, I mean, you can't argue with that. It will be 3rd and 11. If that would have been counted as a lateral, it would have been a fumble, and the Reed Spring would have recovered it with great field position. But there will be that is the end of the quarter.
I did say that flag on Blake, or that happened to Blake, might get the Wolves pumped up, and it looks like that's exactly what it did. The defense looked like they played harder, and the fans started cheering, the coaches. Everyone got more in tune. Even I think you did too. The Wolves were able to do great there, and it's 4th and 11. It looked like the Fighting Irish special teams was coming out. What is kind of disappointing for the Wolves, but good for the Irish, is that fumble didn't happen. With the fumble happening there, if that would have been a fumble, the Wolves would have been able to recover it and have good field position and be able to work down the field. Now that the Irish are probably going to punt the ball to number 20, Kelly Newton, it's not going to be the same situation. I do think that play looked more like a punt than it did a lateral, as well as the rest of the Wolves. Excuse me, I thought that pass looked more like a lateral than it did a pass. I'm sorry about that. Number 20, Kelly Newton, is set to return the punt. Almost blocked by number 4, Logan Plum. It's going to put the Wolves in not exactly the best field position, but the Wolves are going to have to take advantage of it. The end of the 3rd quarter has happened.
Now it really is the end of
excuse me, now is the actual ending of the third quarter, but 12 minutes are left in the game, and the Wolves need to score at least twice, and one of those scores has to be a touchdown, and the other, to tie it, would have to be a safety. To gain the lead would have to be a field goal, assuming they made the point after attempt. We're going to see how the Wolves handle this. The last 12 minutes of the COC championship game are coming into play, and the Wolves are going to have to take advantage of this. Coulter Witten hoping to be a threat here. The Wolves really need him to break out into the open. It's going to be a handoff to Coulter Witten, and he's going to gain a few yards. You can see when all those defensive players are on him, he's just tucking the ball in, trying to, you really do have, I think a lot of people don't give halfbacks the credit, or any player, but everyone's trying to strip the ball in a little huddle like that. You have to use all your strength to keep that ball in your hands, because it is easier to strip, especially when it's slippery on this muddy field. That's going to be a gain of a yard. Going to see how the Wolves operate here. Going to be a fake. A fake to Coulter, and Corey Robinette's going to get the ball, and he's going to break through some holes and get a first down. A great play. Getting momentum already. The Wolves are really stomping into this. One big problem that halfbacks are going to have this game is cutting and breaking in and out due to how muddy the field is. It's going to be a pass play as he's sacked by number 22 from the blind side. That was a big hit, and when you don't expect it, it makes the hit even bigger. The O-line is not doing their job. You really can't have that. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, that just can't happen for you because now you're in a bad situation right here because of the sack. But it's going to be a handoff to Coulter. Coulter is going to pick up some yards right there after getting hit. Fantastic job by Coulter using his speed to get a good pickup right there for the Wolves. That was Tyson Riley right there on the tackle, but good job by Coulter. It will be third down.
It's going to be 3rd and 5. Wolves really need to convert here. Hand off to Coulter, who's going to fight for some yards. It's going to be close. The sack really hurt the Wolves, and it's hurt the Wolves other times. And what's really bad about that sack is that it's going to be 4th down. The Wolves are going to go for it. It's going to be 4th and 1. They really need to push it up the middle to fight for the yards. It's going to be a fumble. You hear Tyson Riley screaming. So much miscommunication happening with the Wolves. It's awful, really. I mean, I understand slightly the fumbles because of what the football is. It can't happen. A quarterback could wear a glove on his other hand that is not throwing in. It would help some. Yeah, and I agree with you, Colin. I don't know if it's the quarterback, but I'm just saying it wouldn't hurt. They need anything. They really need to force the turnover. It's going to be a run to the outside, and it looks like that was number 6, Corey Robinette. The Wolves, I feel like the Wolves, the adrenaline, the confidence they had is going down. It's not. A lot of things this game haven't went the way for the Wolves, and that's something you got to deal with. You know, every team faces it. It's 2nd and 2. Wasn't quite good enough for the first down. Looks like they're going to run it up the middle, and looks like probably a tackle for the loss. The D-line doing a good job. Dakota Romsberg, number 24, in on that tackle.
Carries 62 hits. Colin Cross.
Number 62, Colin Cross, in on the tackle too. Third and 2. Wolves really got to stop it here. Tyson Riley is going to be tackled, what looks like for a loss, by number 79, Austin Bradfield, having an amazing game, as well as Ben Moeller. Austin Bradfield is really having a good game. He's making a huge impact on defense. He's really tearing it up out there. It's going to force 4th down. The Fighting Irish could probably go for it in this situation. They're not going to, but if they did, it wouldn't give the Wolves the best field position, so it wouldn't hurt them that bad. But it looks like they're going to punt to number 20, Kelly Newton. Not going to be the best snap. And the ball is going to go down on the 25-yard line. That ball, if you saw it in the air, looked very odd with the wind blowing. It just almost looked like it was floating on strings. The Wolves are really going to have to command it, push down the field. They have 7 minutes and 32 seconds left, and they need a touchdown, a point after attempt, and a field goal to take the lead. And it's a lot to happen, especially with the Irish being in the lead. They can slow it down. Gonna see how Blake Gronville does here. Another fumble, but Blake's looks like he's gonna gain yards out of it, maybe for a few yards. Putting a new ball in there, I have no doubts that that ball gets extremely slippery in that situation. It's going to be a gain of about 2 to 3 yards. We really can't have these miscommunications here, these slip-ups. Blake Gronville going to set under center, hand the ball off to Coulter. You see the hands going for the strip, but Coulter's strength outdoes it. Going to be a gain of about 3 yards. Wolves really need to start. They're getting really deep into the holes here, you know, getting deep with a lot of 3rd downs. We've got to convert before that. We're going to have 3rd and short, maybe 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Hand off to Coulter, who's going to get the first down. Tyson Riley looks like he's going to trip up. Tyson Riley, it looks like a lot of his defensive ideas are just to almost dive in front of the runner and like trip him up, which it's a good idea, I suppose. You know, you get the lower strength down there. Just haven't really seen it much this season by some other players. Wolves marching down 6 minutes, 20 seconds, winding down on the clock. The Wolves have really got to score quickly. Need someone to break into the open. Corey is going fake to Coulter. Corey's going to get the ball, put his head down to hit some defensive players, gaining a few yards there as Joel Gertson and J.P. Gardner swap in and out.
You notice that the Irish defense right here, what they're doing is they're kind of pushing back their linebackers a little bit so that Reed Spring can't pick up a huge rush, and that's good. They're being safe. And Blake Gronville, do you see him? He gets into the open. Go! Go! Touchdown for the Wolves!
That was a great play. The whole defense thought Coulter Whitten had the ball. I thought Coulter Whitten had the ball. Almost disappointed as soon as I saw it that Coulter was getting tackled for a loss. Blake Gronville tucked, ran to the outside, broke in, hit some holes, and he scored. He took matters into his own hands. He's done a great job at the reads. He did great. That puts your score 16-13. Fighting Irish winning. Going to go for the point after attempt is number 13, Kava. Attempts at the foreign exchange student. Great play by the whole offense. Blake Gronville doing a great job there. Coulter Whitten doing a great job marching the field down. The kick is good. And the Wolves, that puts the Wolves down by 2. As long as the Wolves can stop the Irish and get into field goal range, that's going to do a great job, a great amount of confidence for the Wolves, a great play. Not only, that wasn't just, down, not just down on the 10-yard line, and they get that small run, but that was a breakout run, and that was what the Wolves needed, got the confidence up. Defense is going to play harder than ever. A great job by the Wolves. There's 5 minutes and 35 seconds left in the game. Fighting Irish lead 16-14. Wolves looking to stop and at minimum get in field goal range. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I could see the Irish winding down the clock maybe. They're going to try to score, obviously. But what do you think? Do you think the Irish are going to try to keep it slow, run down the clock so that if they do turn it over, the Wolves are left with minimum time? The goal here is to get field possession for the Wolves on about halfway to the field. They don't want bad field possession. They need to score as quickly as possible, and a minimum being a field goal to take the lead.
You don't want the Wolves to be at halfway because all the Wolves have to do is get to about the 15, 20-yard line, and they win the game by a field goal. So you really can't let the Wolves get a field goal possession, and they have some trouble with it. The intense game right here for the Wolves.
I do think the Fighting Irish got kind of comfortable with the lead, but the Wolves are taking advantage. That was a very good kick. If you noticed, it was kicked, bounced off a few players, and they ended up bringing him down on the 17-yard line, and the Wolves even had a chance almost to recover that kick. And like I said, if they stop them here and the Irish have to punt, puts the Wolves in great field position. This is a championship game. This is a big game. He's going to break to the outside, and he's going to be stopped by number 79, Austin Bradfield, as well as number 4, Logan Plum.
Seth hits number 27 hard, and 27 goes straight to the ground. He is hurt. Seth, you could hear the hit from all the way over here. Seth just comes in, he puts down his shoulder, and he hits the blocker hard, and the blocker's still not getting up. I mean, this is bad. He's on the ground. He seems to be really hurt on the play right there. He doesn't seem to be getting up or anything. I mean, that's bad. That was a huge hit. You see Seth, he just runs in full speed into the kid, and he just takes him down.
Teams take a knee for number 27 of the Irish. An extremely big hit by Seth.
Commercial.
Going to bring you to a commercial here due to the injury. Hopes that he'll be okay. So stay tuned for some more Wolves football as the fourth quarter continues.
Thank you. Can I help you today?
No thanks. I'm just looking. Oh, this is cute. So?
You wouldn't do it there. So don't do it here. Sportsmanship. It's up to you.
Like they're the fashion police.
Number 27 jogs off the field. Colin just mentioned the possible concussion. Just because he's jogging off does not mean he's perfectly fine. A lot of head injuries happen. The ball is on the 20-yard line, and second and 7. Looks like they're going to run it up the middle, and Tyson Riley is going to be tackled for a yard either way. Pretty neutral run. The Wolves really commanding defense here. That's going to put them 3rd and long, it looks like. 3rd and 7, I believe. The Wolves, this is what the Wolves want right here. They want to stop or force a turnover, get the ball back, and if they can score, that'd be great. So much momentum going in the Wolves' hands as the Fighting Irish are kind of in the opposite. Their momentum is kind of being drained, due to what the Wolves are doing. 3rd and 7. He's going to drop back for the pass. Going to be a pass, and immediately passed by number 24, Dakota Romsberg. The great pressure, the great pass coverage. That is a very clutch play. The Fighting Irish needed everything to go their way, but the Wolves were able to stop it for it looks like a no gain, maybe even a loss there. A great play by number 24, Dakota Romsberg. And honestly, I think that was a pretty bad choice by Tyson Riley. He sensed pressure and he had a man to go to, but the man had coverage on him.
What if the Florence Jameson hits the game-winning field goal?
Number 20, Kelly Noon's going to be set to return the kick here. It's going to be a deep kick. Kelly's not going to try to return it. Really, I have not seen anything impressive from the kicks of the Fighting Irish. The Wolves, great field position. Exactly what they wanted. Exactly the best situation they could have right here was to stop them, push the Irish back, cause them to go 3 and out. The Wolves are going to come here. The fan section, everyone is so pumped for this drive. Coulter Witten probably going to be a key player in this drive. Blake Gronville doing great. You know, number 8, Seth Stamps. Corey, they're all so important here. The O-line's going to be doing good. Going to be helping to open up holes. Coulter's going to get the ball. Probably going to gain a yard or two, maybe no gain. Coulter Witten, what looks like on the no gainer. Gonna say, you expecting the option here to the outside?
I mean, you never know what the Wolves have up their hands. It's going to be a handoff to Coulter up the middle for a nice gain right there. Great job by Witten just running it right up the middle.
It's going to put the Wolves in 3rd down. Looks like 3rd and medium probably. It's not the best situation, but the Wolves are really going to have to try to come through. The Wolves need to get in field goal range. There's only 2.5 minutes on the clock, and the defense falls for the option, and that's going to be good enough for a Wolves 1st down. There's 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. The ideal thing would be The ideal thing for the Wolves would be to run down the clock, but still be gaining yards. 1st and 10, ball on the 32-yard line.
The Wolves are wanting to get the ball around the 20, and Blake Gronville looks like he gets a no gain, small pickup right there. But the Wolves, what they need to do is they need to get to about the 20 to 15-yard line. And if they kick the field goal, that'll put them up 17-16. You have 2 minutes left. Well, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. I mean, this is stressful for both teams. Let's see what the Wolves can do. Can they clutch out?
Kava has kicked a deep field goal before. Number 26, Coulter Witten is going to get into the open and be brought down by what looks like Tyson Riley. It's going to be good enough for a 1st down, and it's going to put the Wolves in field goal range. What they're going to do here is obviously push for the touchdown, gives them much more insurance room. There's 1 minute and 53 seconds left. The ball's on the 20-yard line. We'd like to gain a few more yards, make it easier. Blake's going to actually be tackled. Tackle for maybe a loss there. Timeout is called by the Wolves. Both teams very stressful. 1 minute and 42 seconds left. Wolves have 2 timeouts. The Fighting Irish Springfield Catholic, I believe, have 3 timeouts. Ball's on the 23-yard line, so it's a loss of 3 to 4 yards. It's about a 35, 36, 8, somewhere right around there. Touchdown, field goal. The Reed Spring Wolves need to get in a better field goal position, although it's possible. They do need to do that.
And the wind is blowing towards the
Kava's farthest kick this season has been a 35-yard field goal, but tonight the wind is blowing out. It looks like maybe towards the field goal post. The Wolves need a good gain of about 7 yards here. A good gain of 7 would be very helpful for the Wolves. 1:42 on the clock. Gonna hand it off to number 8, Seth Stamps, who's gonna get upfield. He's gonna do great. Flags are thrown on the play. Due to what's happened before in this game, the Irish haven't really had any flags on him. It's gonna be holding on the offense, not what the Wolves wanted. They need to be in field goal position.
82, Drew Davis making the tackle. Holding.
The Wolves are going to need a big gain. Someone is gonna have to come through. I believe we repeat second down, if I'm not mistaken. Ball's on the 33-yard line. Gonna go for the option. Blake Gronville's gonna cut up the field. He's gonna get the good gain. Blake Gronville is really showing out right now. He's had the run for the second touchdown for the Wolves, and he's gonna get a huge gain there. That's really gonna put the Reed Spring Wolves in a good position. That was 2nd and 23. There's 1:20 seconds, and the Wolves call a timeout. My guess is,
20-yard gain.
okay, in the situation, that was a 20-yard gain, so I believe we have 3rd and 3. Colin, let me ask you, let's say the Wolves do not convert here. We have 4th and 3. Do you think the Wolves wind down the clock and then kick the field goal?
But they call timeout.
But then the Irish should probably call the timeout. The Wolves have 1 field goal left, and the Irish have 3. 3rd and 4. The Wolves are really needing to score here, but most definitely convert. Time is winding down to where they either need to score quickly or they're gonna have to go for the field goal, but they're on the 13-yard line. It's in great position for Kava, the foreign exchange student, to kick the field goal. Ball's gonna be handed off to number 26, Coulter Witten. They're not gonna convert it. Wind is blowing to the Irish's side of the field goal. There's a decent amount of wind. It's going to take a lot. The game is coming down to a very tight decision. 4th and 6. I feel like the Irish are gonna. Do you think the Irish are gonna take their chances of not? Excuse me, the Irish are gonna call the timeout. Let me ask you this. Excuse me, timeout by Reed Spring, their final timeout. Let me ask you this. What do you think? Do you think the Irish were considering taking their chances of letting the Wolves run down the clock and missing the field goal? Or do you think they were going to try to call the timeout in the case that they do make the field goal? And if they do, it's a very hard to score. You know, and you know what this comes down to is going for the two-point conversion. If they would have went for the point after attempt, they would have 17 points and a field goal would just tie it. It definitely puts them into a sticky situation. And it looks like number 13, Kava, is going to come out onto the field. He has a soccer background. His beautiful strength of the legs. It's a very big kick, you know, a lot of nerves. The ball is on the 14-yard line, 4th and 4, and Kava is going to be set to kick this ball. This is a very big play by the Wolves. It looks like Springfield Catholic is going to call a timeout to try to ice the kicker. You know, one thing that we have an advantage is Kava has a beautiful soccer background. And, you know, it may not be the best, but he's definitely a good kicker. We have a lot of opportunity here. The Wolves can be taking the lead.
Kava doesn't really have big experience when it comes to kicking field goals, and the strong wind, can he adapt to the wind? The wind is blowing towards, you know, the way that the ball will be kicked, so it's going to help out Kava. I mean, this is the game winner. This either wins the game or it loses it. They call another timeout. They're going to try to ice the kicker, but it's not going to stop Kava. Kava has this one. I have all the faith in the world for Kava right here. The Wolves, the championship game depends on just one play, on this one play. Make or break time for the Wolves.
The nerves have got to be running through Kava. I assume that the Catholic is going to save their second or their third timeout for, if the Wolves make it, to try to get 2 plays in. Kava's going out. You know he's got to have nerves running through him. Both sections, the Catholic fans as well as the Reed Spring fans, are going crazy. And this is, like Colin said, a game winner or a game breaker. Tyson Riley, you see jumping up, trying to get the fans loud. Catholic is going to call their third timeout. I think I might disagree with that.
They have to. If we make the field goal right here, Fighting Irish have to make it all the way down the field with no timeouts. Terrible decision, in my opinion. They're really going to try to ice kicker. The Wolves are on their knees.
They're banking. The Irish are banking on him missing rather than at least using some safety, you know, as if he did make it. They would have at least 2 plays. They would at least have 2 plays to get down the field. They can spike the ball, but let's say the Wolves make it. Irish gets the ball back. They'd be able to make a play, call a timeout, make another play, have a better chance. But Kava will be kicking the ball now. Everyone very hyped. Gonna see if the Irish's decision works out or not. I'm going to see how Kava can do here, the foreign exchange student. The field goal is blocked by the Irish. And Kava is on the ground, hurt. No flags are thrown for roughing the kicker, although all of the Wolves very concerned that there was, you know, not, the Irish didn't necessarily ice the kicker, but what they did was they iced the special teams. The special teams was not ready, and the Irish broke right through it. The Irish broke right through the lineman, and I want to see what you have to say, Colin. It looked like they almost didn't ice Kava, but they iced the special teams line. The Fighting Irish broke right through it with no problem. There were not just one person trying to block that, but there were 3 people. Silent as Kava's on the ground. He's going to get up. I'm very surprised. Looks like he's limping. Oh, he's going to be carried off the field. I'm extremely surprised that there is no flag on the play. Odds are the Fighting Irish kneel the ball, and that will be the game. They'll win 16-14. There's a possibility of a slip up on the snap. Wolves get that. They still have a timeout left, I believe, and they would be able to use this. Let me check with Colin. Colin, do the Wolves still have a timeout? He says yes. So the possibility for the Wolves would be maybe slip up on the snap, because I assume they're going to go for the QB kneel. A Wolf player getting the ball, and then from there,
And
Tyson Riley's going to kneel it, and that's going to be ball game as the Reed Spring Wolves lose the game. The Springfield Catholic Fighting Irish are going to win the game 16-14. That will tie the COC. The Bolivar Liberators, the Reed Spring Wolves, and the Springfield Catholic Fighting Irish all tie for the COC title. Again, I don't really think that icing came down to icing Kava, but more icing the special teams. The Fighting Irish were able to get right through it and block it, and that was an amazing play by them. The Wolves will look to take on what I believe will be Aurora or East Newton on the first round of districts next week. A very big win on senior night for the Fighting Irish. It's a deep loss. It hurts the Wolves. It cuts them hard, gets them in the heart. That's something that they didn't want to lose. They had all that momentum built up. And although the Wolves will three-way tie the COC title, to them it seems more of a loss of the title than an actual win. They are tying it, but it just doesn't seem that way to the Wolves. Again, Bolivar beat Catholic, the Reed Spring Wolves beat Bolivar, and Springfield Catholic beat the Wolves. So that is why it's a three-way tie, which comes down to head-to-head. So again, your final score, the Reed Spring Wolves 14 as they lose to the Springfield Catholic Fighting Irish, who scored 16 points in the COC championship game. The small COC title will be held by Bolivar Liberators, Springfield Catholic Fighting Irish, and the Reed Spring Wolves. Thank you for watching, and be ready for the first rounds of districts next week.